gameplay that some would describe as Diablo-like, with the silly, witty humor of the Monkey Island games. DeathSpank is an interesting series of games that might have had some staying power as a franchise if the gameplay had evolved throughout the series. Sure, it's funny, but how long does it stay fun? This is the Potato Backlog Project, completions number 58, 59, and 60. For more info on the projects and more videos to watch, see the links below. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video for the real hero to the downtrodden, the Tater Raider. And let's talk a little bit about the DeathSpank Trilogy. I've had these games sitting in the backlog for a long time now. I bought them on Xbox Live Arcade back when you still used Microsoft points to make purchases. DeathSpank, Thongs of Virtue, and The Baconing are a set of action RPG style games. They do have some similarities to Diablo in that you level a character, enemies drop loot to complete a ton of quests throughout the world, lots of which fall into the kill enemies for items and other similar type fetch quests. But for me, that's where the similarities kind of end. Outside of a couple small defensive options in The Baconing, all three of these games are extremely similar gameplay wise, so I'm gonna kind of talk about them as one big game. DeathSpank is the main character of the series, self-proclaimed dispenser of justice, vanquisher of evil, and hero to the downtrodden. The plot revolves around the Thongs of Virtue, which are magical items, kind of like the Rings of Power from the Lord of the Rings, but thongs. They corrupt those who aren't pure of heart, and DeathSpank sets out to find them all, and in the end realizes he must also destroy them all. The game world itself doesn't really make a ton of sense, but that's kind of the point and part of the charm. You'll see medieval stuff, pirates, futuristic type stuff, mountain settings, jungles, World War II settings, the Old West, and with each change the NPCs and enemies change to match the environment and area that you're in. All of the characters in the world are brought to life with voiced dialogue. The performances help sell the game and the world, and they kind of keep you invested when things start feeling a little bit grindy. I was always kind of excited to see what crazy things DeathSpank might say next when I entered a new town. It's all very over the top stuff, silly in a fun way, and just a good fun world to explore and play through.
Greetings, Demon Witch Havenstons. I am DeathSpank, hero to the downtrodden, vanquisher of evil, dispenser of justice. And I have come for the artifact.
No need for the introduction, DeathSpank. I know who you are.
Greetings, heroic-looking traveler.
I am DeathSpank.
Yeah, me and the whole forest heard it when you were telling the Demon Witch.
Do you need any justice served?
Why, yes, I do.
The quality of the writing and the voice performances help this game seem bigger and better than it really should. The gameplay revolves around picking up quests from NPCs and exploring the areas on the map to do the required tasks. There are a ton of fetch quest type missions, kill enemies for items, activate certain things, repair certain things, and the monotony of the quest types is kind of broken up by the silliness of what you're collecting or doing. To give you an idea of what I mean by silly, at one point you end up having to invade the North Pole so that you could defeat Santa Claus and take his thong.
Greetings, rotund figment of holiday mirth.
Ho, 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 ho! What have we here? A naughty little boy?
Well, I'm no naughty little boy. I am DeathSpank.
DeathSpank can equip multiple weapons and items at the same time. Using different weapon types in turn actually builds combo chains to help you do more damage. You also have a justice meter that builds up through certain actions in battle. When full, certain weapons gain a super move-like quality for one hit, which is kind of the continued goal you have as you fight. Kind of like the battle loop. Blocking is essential to survival in this game. If you don't use it, you will not live very long. This game can be fairly difficult at times. Luckily, there's also a perfect block mechanic, which negates all damage and gives a massive boost to your justice meter. There are also ways to combine certain weapon types for bigger special type moves, but you will need to find certain medallions throughout the world to make this possible. Mix all these things with elemental type bonuses, ranged weapons, and different boost type potions, and you have the makings of a fun, solid little combat system. In the Diablo-like fashion, you will find a lot of loot throughout the game. There is some depth there with some bonuses to certain pieces, different resistances to help you play the way you want, or to exploit the weaknesses of certain enemies. But my favorite part of the armor was that it actually changes the look of DeathSpank when equipped. Not a detail you would expect to see from an indie game back in the day, and just another thing that added to the charm of the game. Character leveling itself was kept extremely simple. You're given the choice between 3 stat boost cards each time you level up. I would have liked to see this be a little bit more in depth, maybe an option for a split stat card to give some points to speed and melee, or some to speed and ranged weapons. I felt pretty slow at times when running around the worlds, even with the ability to add to the speed stats when leveling up. There are outhouses you find and activate that act as fast travel points, and you can find and purchase speed potions as well. But the amount of back and forth built into some of these quests had the actual travel time being the biggest momentum killer in the game for me. It's something I would have liked to see addressed in the second and third game, but like I said, these 3 games are, for all intents and purposes, one giant game split into 3 parts. The maps themselves are pretty large. Certain fetch quests can have you scouring the lands aimlessly for a long time, as some quests don't come with a ton of great info on how to complete them. This is remedied a bit in the form of fortune cookies you find, which can be used to open up hints on certain quests within your quest submenu. Even with this option, there were a few quests I had to look up helpful. Another head scratcher for me and massive oversight was buying things from the shops. You couldn't select to buy in bulk from what I could see. There was a carry limit of 5 for potions, but food to heal didn't seem to have that limit, so there was a lot of button tapping needed when I ran out of food and needed to stock up. Each DeathSpank game takes about 8 to 10 hours to complete, depending on how thorough you are and how many of the side quests you complete. Thongs of Virtue felt like the longest of the 3 for me personally, but again, one big game split into 3 parts. All 3 of these games are still available for purchase on Steam, though I question the price tag these days. $15 to $18 per game seems like a lot. If you could get the set on sale for $20 or even $25, I think there's massive value there for the experience given. 3 happy potato faces out of 5 for the trilogy as a whole. There are some dated aspects here, but the enjoyability of the characters and the world and the writing has made it a little bit easier to forgive some of those more dated things. If you enjoy a funny hack and slash style RPG type game, and you can find these on a little bit of a sale, then I think it's definitely worth a look. But with that, the Backlog project rolls on. Thank you so much for watching. Be kind to yourselves and others that deserve it. Well, on to the next one. I've had these games sitting in the backlog for a long time now, and my voice cracked as well.
I am DeathSpank Hero.
This is how DeathSpank talks. Hey! That's not how he talks.